Hi, this is Randy from Fried Eggs Golf, and welcome to another edition of Over Easy. Yes, I'm wearing a backwards hat, but it's because it's a flat bill and I look ridiculous in flat bills, so I turned it around. Not a big deal. But before I start the answering the question segment, I do want to shortly address something that's kind of got me upset a little bit, and it has to do with social media. And since this channel, Fried Eggs Golf, is a part of social media, I feel like it's my place to complain and rant about this. Now, the problem I have is with golf companies and their presence on social media. There's some that do an excellent job, and there's others that don't do a very good job at all, in my opinion. But just a brief example, all the content that I make is free of charge. It costs none of these manufacturers anything for me to produce the videos that I produce, and all I really ask is their feedback. I don't care if they share it, I don't care if they post it on their website. I just want acknowledgement that I made it, and then the fact that maybe critiques of what I can do better or what I could do in the future to make the videos better. What I can't stand is when I get ignored. And I think you all know, if you follow me on Twitter at all, that I pretty religiously troll TaylorMade. And the reason I do it is not just because I don't like TaylorMade. I have TaylorMade equipment in my bag. The reason is because I've made a lot of TaylorMade content, and they're the only company, the only manufacturer that has never acknowledged one of my videos as far as like, hey, that's fantastic, that's great, keep up the good work. And it just bugs me. And in my opinion, that's the reverse of what social media should be. It should be growing the game within the community of golf, not just using your social media platforms as advertisement place where people can come and you just throw advertisements at them 24/7. If you don't believe me, just as an example, go on to TaylorMade's Twitter account and scroll through their timeline. You will see only TaylorMade posts, and anytime they retweet a message, it's from a follower, or I'm sorry, from a person on Twitter that has well over 10,000 followers. So they don't care, and not that I shouldn't say they don't care, but they don't acknowledge the individuals, the people that play the golf, the people that actually make their company what it is. And to me, that's backwards. It's social media. You're supposed to participate in the community and grow the game there and really get to the roots of it all. And if you want a positive or a good example of a company or companies that do this, check out Ping, check out Callaway. And I'm going to use Twitter again as an example. Go to their Twitter pages and scroll down. On Ping, you will see direct responses to individuals with no followers, just everyday Joe Schmoes like me and you. And if you go to Callaway, I mean, they constantly, almost daily are retweeting people that are like, love the equipment, I like the way this ball performs, that are absolutely, just your regular everyday golfers. So I'm sorry to carry on like this, but it strikes a chord with me because I am passionate about this game, and I want the game to be popular. I want everyone to play. I want everyone to have access to it. But when these companies treat these social media platforms like just another venue to post their commercial ads, it makes me sad, because you have to find ways to interact with people that isn't just your 30-second video of like, hey, this is a new club that's out, come buy it. So I don't know. This is all me just venting, I feel like. But without any more hesitation or delay, let's jump into the questions and answers. That's why we're here. And so I'm going to put some time on the clock here, 10 minutes to be exact, if I can find my timer. And we'll go ahead and start. Jake McLeod, when and how did you start golf? When did you first break 80? I started golf when I was 11 years old, and my dad got me on the game. He was the one that got me into it. He just took me out with a couple friends and we played. When did I first break 80? I first broke 80 when I was 12. So it was one of those things where I played baseball my whole life, and I had very good hand-eye coordination, and my dad's like, here's a ball that's not moving that you can hit. It just seemed easy to me. I learned the game from there, from reading books, mostly Jack Nicklaus. My favorite actually was Fred Couples. That's the one that I tried to copy his swing for the longest time, until my dad kind of was like, Randy, you need to build your own swing. Use these as guides, but you need to be yourself. So I was 12 when I first broke 80. Now, and we're not talking like a real hard golf course. We're talking, I think it was a par 35 and the longest hole being a par 5 that was like 460 yards, something like that. So nothing too tough, but yeah, that's when I first broke the 80 barrier. That seems like bragging, but I'm not, I promise. Patrick D, any simple tricks or tips to help with chipping and pitching? I have a tendency to blade or duff a chip, and would being 6'7" affect chipping at all? Simple tricks for chipping and pitching. The one that seems to escape a lot of people, and one that seems to be the easiest, is just the whole hinge and hold method. I mean, keeping the wrist solid, not having much break in the wrist. I mean, there's going to be some rotation there, but keeping the wrist solid, not only on takeaway, but all the way through impact. And in doing so, you just give yourself basically a big putting stroke, and it would create more consistency and help you strike the ball in the center of the wedge and not hit behind it or catch it in the middle of the ball. Now, yes, being 6'7" is going to change this. If you're using a standard length club, let's say, if you're using a standard length club, well, don't use any standard length club if you're 6'7", unless you have the longest arms ever. But what I would recommend is make sure that you build your posture into what feels comfortable to you, and then fit the wedge to that. That way you're making consistent contact with the ground, and make sure you fit each individual wedge for its sole purpose. That was a pun, but it wasn't intended, I promise. Anyway, Chavez Niez, I feel like I pronounce that different every time I read your question. But anyway, I took up golf last year and got started with a second-hand Ping ISI K irons from the 1990s. The rest of my bag is relatively newer: wedges, hybrids, woods, driver, etc. They're within the last 3 or 4 years. I find my iron distance lagging a bit behind the rest of my set. Could this be due to their age or lack of tech or worn out? It could be because of their worn outness, but I doubt it. I would probably attribute most of it to the fact that irons that old from the 90s are going to be a full club weaker, almost 4, sometimes 5 or 6 degrees now, depending on the set, weaker than what standard lofts play to today. So yeah, the technology is probably a little bit behind the time, but would attribute most of your distance loss to the fact that you're hitting a 9 iron where it's really a pitching wedge loft these days. So, Connor Franta, what is your favorite tournament to watch each year? Without question, the Masters. Now, if you want to, that's my favorite golf tournament, but it's also a major. But if you want just golf tournament, it would be the Players. I think that the atmosphere and just the whole tournament in itself is great. It's great for the game, and I maybe down the road be a 5th major. They already call it that, but maybe it actually might turn into that. But I think that's one of the funner tournaments to watch. Keenan Morrow Golf, what do you recommend for practice schedule for somebody who has 20 hours a week that can set aside for practicing and playing? Unless you're really trying to turn pro or play in tournaments and stuff like that, just get out there and play. I mean, if you're going to set aside time to practice, work on the short game, the chipping, the putting, and that will help you score better. And scoring better makes the game fun. And if we go out there and you're just hitting drives and irons out on the driving range, you kind of lose track of what you're doing, because you're trying to hit straight, perfect golf shots where golf's just, it's never going to be that for really anybody. So just go out there and play more, have fun, and when you do have time to practice, set aside a couple hours a week for chipping and putting, and really concentrate on that. It'll help lower the scores, but just get out there and play. Go out on the golf course, have fun. Hey, new vids found from Rick Shields. I'm an 18 handicap using AP2s, hit the ball well, but I struggle with chipping and putting. What should my practice regimen be? 90% short game, 10% long, or focus 100% on short game until I reach the low teens? This is almost similar to the last question, Nick. I would say, and that was from Nick Grisey, I think I just started reading that, but similar to the last question, I would say primarily short game. But if you're not really trying to get yourself into like tournament ready style play, just get out there and play. Enjoy the game, play, but practice majority. When you have time to practice, focus 75-80% of that on your short game, putting, and then you can hit range balls the other 15% of the time. But most importantly, just get out there and play. Don't spend all your time practicing. I actually skipped the question back here. I didn't mean to. Andrew Nelson, do you know how much the boron forged steel in the new Mizuno EZ is so, or if so, is there a difference than the basic forged steel? The boron forged the boron's a stronger metal And anytime you have a stronger metal, typically you can thin it out a little bit more and make the face thinner and provide more of that trampoline effect on the iron, give you a little bit more spring, especially on the perimeter of the club itself. So boron's stronger, and being stronger, they can make it thinner. I only don't know this because it's on their website. I know nothing about metal at all, except what people tell me. Where was I at here? James Kendrick. If you had to play one course for the rest of your life, what course would it be? Beverly Hills. I love it there. The people are nice. It's well kept. The owner's kind of sketchy, but if it was any course and there wasn't any restrictions, I would play Augusta. I think that would be just the one course that would make me happy. Either that or Pebble Beach. One of the two. Cropped asked, "Hi Randy, if I had an old set of irons from Wilson and the shaft is a half and half, that makes them very light. Have you tried those? How do you compare those to regular steel shafts?" What Cropped is talking about here is Wilson actually put these in their irons 4 or 5 years ago. They were half graphite at the top, half steel at the bottom. So what they were trying to do was give you the best of both worlds. The stability of steel shaft, but the softness and the feel of a graphite. And it was a good shaft. I mean, it performed well for the right person. It wasn't really, for everybody. But what it did was it took away some of the vibration and dampened it with the graphite part. But in the steel, it kept the stability and tightened up shot dispersions. It wouldn't let it get too loose or too errant. But overall, yeah, it was a good shaft. Now, having said that, they abandoned it, so I can't say that they saw much improvement in their performance and selling the irons they were trying to sell with that shaft in it. So who knows? But yeah, I hit it and it felt really nice. Alexander Schwartzbart, is the Scotty Cameron worth the money, or are they lower price putters which perform similarly? I'm not going to go on another rant here about Scotty Cameron, but I think that they're a terrific manufacturer of putters, but absolutely not. They're not worth $300-400. I mean, when you get up into the collector's editions of these, you're talking, thousands of dollars. But they're a great performing putter, one of the best on the planet. But Scotty Cameron, and you guys can yell at me for this or whatever you want to say, Scotty Cameron is popular for one reason, and one reason alone. I mean, as far as popular as it is, and it's because a gentleman named Tiger Woods used that putter to win every single major ever that he ever won. And when you have a guy that has the influence on the game that Tiger Woods had, whether it be positive or whether it be, you're a Tiger fan or you're not a Tiger fan, Tiger influenced everybody. And when you had a guy playing a Scotty Cameron putter, and on every major you had a close-up of the back of it and him knocking in 20, 30 footers with it, that putter took off. And Scotty Cameron, his success is because of his hard work and what he did with making putters out of his garage, but it boomed when Tiger took it to another level. Is it worth the money? You're paying mostly for the brand with that, because there are other milled putters out there that are 20-30% less, that perform just as well, that actually have more technology in them now than what the original Scotty putters did. But funny story, just not to get too long on this question, but I had a customer come in and he was very distraught, and he grabbed the Ping Karsten putter answer style off of my rack, and he goes, "How does Ping get away with this?" And I had no idea what he was talking about. I go, "Excuse me, what do you mean?" He goes, "How can he steal Scotty Cameron's design like this?" Timer. But he said, "How can he steal Scotty Cameron's design like this and not get sued?" And I just kind of hand slapped my forehead, and I was like, "Buddy, no, that's not the case at all." I will answer one more question though. I have Michael Carr. Have you ever had the yips? Oh, I had to end on this one. Have you ever had the yips with your full swing chipping or putting? I don't know if any of you have watched the course vlogs, but my putting right now is atrocious. Now, I am in the process with working with Brian, who's also a club fitter at Bobix where I work, and Brian's been in a couple other videos with me, and I've been working with him on my putting stroke because he's one of the best putters I've ever played with that, I get to play with consistently. Obviously, I've seen better putters, but he's the best one I've ever played with, and he helped me rebuild a putter to my true posture, because I've preached it forever to fit the club to you, but my ego gets in the way when I try to fit a putter. I'm saying, you know, I need this, I know what I need, and I threw that all away and let Brian build me a putter, and it's on order, and I'll do a what's in the bag as soon as it comes in, and I'll tell you what it is when it comes in as soon as I know for sure that it works. But yes, I've had, I wouldn't say the yips, but I've had some deep struggles with the putter and the short game in the last couple years, mostly because I have zero time to practice those things. I remember being good, I remember certain things working, and they just don't work anymore. So I've never had the yips. Those are all mental, and I feel like a lot of my putting woes right now are a little bit more mechanical than mental. I have other mental blocks though outside of that, but no, never had the yips personally. And for those of you that have, comment below, is there something that helped you get out of that funk, that state of mind? Because if you don't know what the yips are, just Google Ernie Els Masters. That's all you have to do, and watch that video and try not to feel sick to your stomach, because that's what the yips are. The yips are just this mental block, this mental gap between what your brain is telling your muscles to do. And Ernie definitely had a little bit of that problem, and Kevin Na, his full swing was very sad when he couldn't pull the trigger on that. So that was a very long episode of Over Easy, and I appreciate you sticking with me and listening to me, my rant about my social media woes there. It's not that I'm not appreciative of what these companies are trying to do, and I don't care if they interact with me personally, but it's really about just stop shoving advertisements in people's faces and interact with them, talk with them, see what they like, see what they don't like, and get feedback that way. Don't post an ad and wait for them to be like, oh, I'm excited to hit these, or oh, these look like garbage. Talk with them, see what they think, respond, you know, person to person, treat people like people. That's kind of a golden rule, I think. So thanks for watching this episode of Over Easy. I hope you tune in next week. I hope to see all you guys' comments down below for any questions that you have for any future episodes. I'll get back to the questions that I missed last week, or on next week's episode. And until then, I will see you next time.